Welcome back to Road America race fans. Thanks so much for being here on an absolutely beautiful Saturday, July 29th, 2023. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined in the booth by Austin Cobb for our final race of the weekend for Gridlife. Gridlife is a Midwest-based racing organization that does racing, time attack, drift, and music festivals all around the country. Our racing series is a single class of amateur club racing home-built cars that will go racing in 15-minute sprint races. We've done 3 of those sprint races so far, and this is our 4th and final upcoming here in just a few minutes. Austin, you're part of this series. You've raced with us before. Matan Rosenberg giving us a wave. This is a special series for a lot of reasons. I think this is the best road racing that these fans have never seen.
Oh, absolutely. It's so great to be exposing so many new people to GLTC and showing, that there is some absolutely fantastic amateur racing out there that regular folks can get into. We all build our own cars. We're working on them in our garage. We're towing them here with our own vehicles. And, we're just out here to have a great time. We have beyond just the racing, we have a fantastic paddock. The vibes have been super high all weekend. People high-fiving, hanging out, talking about what they're doing on track, their races, their time attack, everything. It's awesome.
Yeah, Carl Hurdle standing by the 2018 Honda Odyssey minivan that's part of the racing series here in Gridlife Touring Cup, because this is a power-to-weight class, which means that your car is balanced to 12.5 pounds per horsepower. We use weight to balance everybody out, and that means you can run anything. Front drive, rear drive, all-wheel drive, coupe, sedan, minivan, truck we've seen before as well. Actually, in the background there, you see the number 51 Rudd's Racing Chevy S10. That's raced with us before, and it's going to be our pace car for this 4th and final race of the weekend. But just a very unique category that is kind of the old school run what you brung mentality. Just a very unique class in a world of multi-class road racing at the club racing level, Austin. But it's been so fun to watch this series grow. It's its 5th year of competition, and a lot of the front runners that we saw in 2019 are still running here with us in 2023.
Yeah, which is awesome to see. I mean, we got a lot of old faces in this grid. We got new faces. We got so many great drivers, great builders, and, everybody's friends. And, going back to Matan, we mentioned earlier, it looks like he's going to be starting on pole, and he's done that a few times and converted it into a win.
One of our oldest and longest competitors is Eric Cattell in the number 82. Now, unfortunately, his pedal box melted out his brake system, so he will not be competing with us in race number 4, which is heartbreaking, but at least the car is in one piece. For the last 2 years, though, it has not been that simple for Eric Cattell. The driver that won the first ever GLTC race used to race a hatchback with us in Gridlife, and his story from the last 2 years basically explains everything about the grit of grassroots racing. Here's a bit on Eric Cattell, one of our longest competitors here in GLTC.
Hi, my name is Eric Cattell. I'm originally from New York City, but I currently live in Columbus, Ohio.
When I first met Eric, he told me he was into cars. I was like, what are you going to do today? And he's like, work on the car. And I'm like, what are you going to do tomorrow? And he's like, work on the hatch. And I'm like, well, what about Thursday? And he's like, yeah, work on the hatch.
GLTC kind of came about, I was like, this is it. Like, I am committed to GLTC. Aaron must have flown under my radar, and when he showed up after the first race, we were like instant buds. That's what kind of laid the foundation of GLTC.
I think that race, that experience following him, and the trust it takes to make it 80% of the lap door to door, I knew that I just found a really good racing buddy.
Cattell is going to hold on for the win if he doesn't miss this shift up onto the front straight, and it's Eric Cattell, car number 82, takes the win on the inaugural Gridlife Cup.
I really had my eyes set on the season championship. I really wanted to defend 2020. The competition really stepped up. You had a lot of these new players. Obviously, Tom O'Gorman was really fast, and Jeremy Swenson.
Eric is fast everywhere. I like to think I'm fast everywhere, and it was just a matter of time until we would meet up. It was clear that he was the guy to beat at that point.
I think you had some personalities come in that were very ambitious. How hard and how bad do they really want it?
There's a lot of pressure on me heading into Road America.
If you have a DNF or an error and you fall back, there's your championship hopes. It's going to be tough.
Jeremy Swenson is within shooting distance of winning a championship.
The guy that he's battling for the championship is the defending champion, one of the most experienced guys in this category.
It's the season finale for GLTC at the longest, largest, and most formidable racetrack on the schedule.
There's walls at this track that, as a racer, you kind of block them out. You pretend they're not there. You certainly don't look at the walls when you're driving. And I've said sometimes there's walls here that you don't see, you hear them.
You hear him when you hit him.
Me and Jeremy, we were neck and neck the whole event. Whoever was ahead of the other driver in the final race was going to win the 2021 championship.
Green flag racing at Road America. Jeremy Swenson in 13th, Eric Till in 12th.
The rain had just started to come down. This place turns to ice in seconds.
And what did you see on those cars that have them? Windshield wipers are working right now.
The championship is in the balance right now.
I look in my rear view. Eric's car was sideways and headed towards the wall.
Oh, no, trouble.
Car is totaled, but long story short, it's just going to cost too much money to fix it when I can actually spend that money on something new.
A lot of the drivers and mechanics within Gridlife probably have a similar thought process. They're all very tunnel vision and project minded, which is good because you get the job done.
All those months really made it worth it when we got to Mid-Ohio.
I feel like a cinder block just like left my chest.
The car was phenomenal. It was hooked up, the car was fast.
He got back in a time frame that most people couldn't at the level he was building his car. For every hour you race a car, there's multiple hours working on the car, prepping a trailer, prepping a truck. The whole transport to the track is, in many cases, more dangerous than the actual racing on the weekends that we race.
I'm on my way to work and I get this text that pops up right into this dark car and it says, "We crashed."
We were driving back from Coda, trying to drive through the night, and unfortunately, while my dad was driving, he fell asleep.
I call him and he hits decline. Call him again and he hits decline. And at that moment, Eric shoots me over a text and I see a picture of like everything into the ditch.
We were lucky we walked away from the accident alive. It could have been so much worse.
I don't even know how I could muster this call, but I called all the people I could think of at 7 a.m. within 2 or 3 hours of Nashville. First person that answered was Zoya Lichty, and then I got in touch with Aaron.
I got a phone call from Emily, and I actually missed the call. And then my wife called me and is like, "Hey, you need to call Emily right now."
And Aaron was like, "Hey man, I know you got a lot going on, but I'm coming down with my truck and trailer, and whatever happens, I'll help you out." What happened to the sedan? You couldn't really see the way it was flipped over, how bad the car was. I couldn't do this again. I could not build another car from scratch, and recovery team got the car out of the ditch. And honestly, I was blown away because the car, for what it went through, was actually not too bad.
You just kind of shrug your shoulders like, it could be worse, like, yeah, it's beat to shit, but it's not broken in two.
Obviously, we're lucky that me and my dad are okay, but I'm also lucky that the car is pretty okay, that I don't have to start from scratch again, because I feel like I couldn't have done that.
Do not go home and work yourself to death. Like 2 days later, he sends me pictures and he's got the thing like half torn down. Then I'm like, I knew you were going to do it.
Checkered flag out of the final corner. It's going to be a drag race to the start-finish line. Wallbomb is coming, but it's not enough. And Eric Till, after months of heartbreak, he is back in victory lane in Gridlife Touring Cup.
I was pushing like crazy. I locked up a few times and just trying to keep him behind me. I don't know how I did that because he was on it. But I'm speechless because a few months ago I thought this car was totaled. I didn't expect to ever race this car again, let alone get a win 2 events later. So, oh man.
It's rare to have that talent as a builder. It's rare to have the talent he has as a driver. It's ultra rare to find both of those things in one person.
You just have to understand how important this is for grassroots racing to have stories like Eric's. The grit and determination of the Gridlife Touring Cup field, that is just one story of many from the past couple of years of competition here in Gridlife. And I think what goes to show how important this series is to racing, Austin, is how much community is here in Gridlife. Aaron Lichty in that number 19 Porsche Cayman, who will roll off in the top 5 in this race, was right alongside Eric Till in their first race. They were in 80% of one of the laps side by side, became best buds, and when Eric needed help the most, Aaron Lichty was the one to pick up the call.
Yeah, it's incredible to see, and I mean, that's genuinely what GLTC is all about. We are not just racing to win, we are racing with our buddies, and I mean, that's just it to the highest degree right there.
So if you've never heard of Gridlife Touring Cup, I highly encourage that you learn more about it on grid.life/GLTC. We'll be live streaming next weekend from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and 2 weeks after that at Lime Rock Park for our Circuit Legends event. We've got big fields planned for both of those. And, of course, there is a huge variety of cars in this field, all the way through 43 entrants for this last race. So with all that aside, Austin, it's time to focus on this upcoming race. This is our fourth and final of the weekend, and we invert up to the top third of the field. It's a random number draw. That number was 3, which is a pretty small invert as far as inverts are concerned, which means that the top 3 drivers basically switch spots in this race, and that will put 19-year-old Matan Rosenberg on the pole in his black and red Chevrolet Corvette. One driver that is not there is James Houghton, who was disqualified for an incident in the prior race, so he will also not be starting this race here at Road America for this final event of the weekend, which is unfortunate, Austin, but he was going to be up on the pole with that invert, but the way things worked out, he will not be running this last race.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what it's about, too. I mean, we really try to hammer home some good, safe, clean driving. Race 3 got a little spicy. There were some things going down. I know Jensen got hit down in Canada corner. Probably mattered in a wet hen about that one, but he's probably still out there. I didn't see him in the lineup, but I assume he got his car up and running.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes here in just a moment's time. But Jeremy Swenson leads the weekend. Again, we stack up points in each race and total them to come out with a weekend champion. Jeremy Swenson has 69 points right now to Aaron Lichty's 62. So if Aaron Lichty finishes enough points or enough positions ahead of Jeremy Swenson, Lichty could steal the weekend here. So Swenson really needs to get a top 5 to ensure that he doesn't lose those points. The point structure is 25, 21, 18, 16, and so on and so forth. So as long as Jeremy is near Aaron, he'll lock up the weekend victory. But if he gets back in the pack a little ways, he could lose this weekend title to that number 19 Porsche.
Man, well, what we know about Jeremy Swenson is that probably will not happen. He is the most consistent driver in the field. We even saw it at work in the last race. He didn't try to chase Aaron down. He just said, hey, I'm in the points hunt. I got the championship. You know, it's my destiny. And I think he was really just maybe targeting a lap time that he could do over and over again without risking anything, without risking the car, without having a mental lapse. And he just knows he just needs to keep collecting those points, and I think he's going to keep doing that right now.
Yeah, for those of you that have just arrived here this morning, very unique cars here in the field, and I know we're about to roll off in just a moment's time, but quick look at one of the most unique cars in this field.
One of the most unique builds in GLTC is this 2018 Honda Odyssey from Hart, Alabama. This is a great example of the run what you brung mentality that we have in Gridlife. It's extremely unique. It has a stock engine and transmission. It's a 10-speed automatic. But this thing, while it's maybe not at the pointy end of the field, it's a great example of power and weight. You can race anything in GLTC, and Carl Hurdle will be driving this all weekend in Gridlife Touring Cup.
And just like that, cars are rolling off pit lane here for Gridlife Touring Cup race number 4. Matan Rosenberg selects the left lane, I believe, as he rolled off pit lane, which means that he will start on driver's left heading down to turn 1. Jeremy Swenson did that in the previous race, Austin, and lost the lead. So why is that left lane so popular here this weekend with our front row lane choice?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I don't know why. I mean, we watched Aaron stay, Coutil stayed side by side right into turn 1. I don't know why they're choosing the left lane, especially after how race 3 went. But, you know, maybe he's got a trick up his sleeve. He does have the heaviest, most powerful Corvette in the field. The heaviest car other than the Odyssey in the field. So maybe he's counting on motoring.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I can think of is maybe you don't, if you're going to go into turn 1 side by side, having that rumble strip and runoff to use maybe is something that they're leaning on instead of being pinched down to the apex at turn 1. I'd have to imagine that factors into the decision. But Matan and Jeremy have raced each other plenty. But Matan Rosenberg has never won a race in GLTC before. 19 years old. He's raced with us for 2 full seasons now. And he used to run a Mazda Miata. He stepped up to the Corvette this season. His results have improved, and this is an opportunity to start up front and stay up front. But Defense has not been his strong suit, though, when he started up front, despite the skill level that he has. His car last year wasn't really prepped all the way to the limit of the rules, so this is going to be an interesting fight to watch. And Jeremy Swenson has won a lot of races and a championship in GLTC. He knows how to get it done, and there's plenty of drivers behind him hungry for a win as well.
Yeah, I think if Matan takes a page out of Aaron's book and he could have his first win, and, man, I know the entire paddock would love to see it. Really what he needs to do is try to clear turn 1 and then get a good run out of there, good run out of turn 3, maybe let Swenson come under attack. If he can get everybody behind him fighting and he can just run away and build up a gap, then, he's got his race in his hands.
Well, let's roll through the starting order really quickly. Maybe just the first 10 rows or so. Matan Rosenberg, 19 years old, out of Cleveland, Ohio, rolls off in his black and red Corvette on row number 1. It's the 2021 champion, Jeremy Swenson, alongside him in the purple Corvette in second. Aaron Lichty, the race 3 winner in the number 19, starts in third place, alongside Austin Hurdle in that pink and white 370Z. Micaiah Hackbarth will start in 5th place in the number 447 Porsche Cayman. It is green, alongside Rob Manicherry in the black, white, and pink 325 Mazda Miata. Behind them, it's going to be Andy Smedegaard in the number 94 from ASM, alongside Tony Marchev in the number 17. It's another black S2000 in position number 8. In 9th place, it's Gary Wimble in a red Corvette. Matt Waldbaum up from 36th to 12th in the previous race. He will start 11th in this one in that number 90. Ryan Upham, 12th place. Luke McGrew in 13th. Eric Meadows will roll off 14th place. Chris Adams, Louis Chatroop, Jeremy Boysen, Jake Jornstad, Zach Lavoie, and Lena Chin round out the rest of the top 20. And other notables that have fallen to the tail of the field, we mentioned Eric Catil with that braking issue. I understand not wanting to run this last race. Emil Tab has the same braking system in his Miata that blew up earlier in the weekend. Offered to switch braking systems with Eric, but I understand Eric's decision not to do that. Brakes at Road America, not something you really want to test in a race environment. So understand that decision, but Eric will sit this one out. Carl Hurdle should be wrapping up our field in that 2018 Honda Odyssey.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can blame him. It'd be a lot of work to get done in just 1 hour. We had a very quick turnaround between these races. And then, Road America, you got some big brake zones. You just melted your brake lines. It's really not worth it at that point, but, we all hate to see it.
Yeah, it really does stink, and it's going to hurt in the points as well. 2 finishes outside of the top 30. This was starting to be a pretty good points weekend for Eric Catil, certainly involved in that championship fight. Championship standings right now, Jeremy Swenson, Luke McGrew, James Houghton, Matt Waldbaum, Eric Catil, and 4 of those drivers have had fairly poor weekends as far as consistency goes. Luke, James, and Matt all having mechanicals or disqualifications. Eric Catil in there as well. Paul Curley's not here, so Matan Rosenberg could pick up some points here in this final race, especially if he can finish out front.
Yeah, and had a little trackside reporter just ping me and tell me that Jeremy Swenson has full rewards weight, so that's something to look out for. Matan has a big advantage right now.
Yeah, so just to explain rewards weight here for fans that aren't familiar with GLTC, when you win a race, you actually have to add weight, 3% of your vehicle's total weight, and you can only max out at 8%. So 8% of weight on top of 3,100 pounds or whatever that car is, that is a heavy number 3 Corvette right now, and that will laden him down this front straightaway. But Matan Rosenberg, that car is heavy naturally. It runs a little more power, a little more weight, so it might be more even than we thought, but Jeremy's car has struggled on the straightaways, so it's not going to help for sure, Austin.
Yeah, the thing is, Matan's weight comes with the power to back it up. It is actually tuned to be run at that weight, so he very well, if he gets a good start, if he jumps as soon as the flagger moves his hand, he could get a good jump, he could clear by turn 1, and then he could sail into the sunset.
Here we go. GLTC, a single-class power-to-weight racing series. These cars built, driven, and maintained by their owners. One last trip up the front straightaway as they get the green flag in just a moment's time. 15 minutes are going to go up on the board, and we will race here at the National Park of Speed one last time here in 2023. Race fans, thanks for joining us here for Gridlife Touring Cup. If you've never heard of it, you're about to see it. Green flag flies in just a moment. There it goes. We're racing at Road America. Nice orderly line. So far, so good. Past the start stand on the run down to turn number 1. Micaiah Hackbarth look to the inside of Aaron Lichty. 3 does not go, and he will have to tuck back in as they make their storm down to that first corner.
Matan actually got a bad start, and Jeremy got a fantastic one. So I think this is going to be a scrap for a full lap. But Matan clears.
Matan Rosenberg, the 19-year-old, out front, 2 and 3 wide through the first corner as they rumble down towards turn 3. Aaron Lichty up the inside of Austin Hurdle, but Hurdle on the outside making an advance forward. We're still 3 wide heading down into turn 3. That got a little tight there. I think that is one of the S2000s. I think that's Alex Moss on the outside of 3 wide.
And this is exactly what I was talking about. If you look at the pack behind Matan, if they start fighting, he is going to just pull away.
Down the back straightaway, heading towards turn 5, a great passing opportunity. Swenson is definitely under fire now from behind. Austin Hurdle into third place in the 370Z. Matan Rosenberg, though, leads the way. Rob Manicherry side by side with Marchev, still 2 wide through turn 5. Nice orderly line here. Keep the fenders off each other, boys and girls. There's Carl Hurdle in the minivan up to turn 6, Austin.
Absolutely beautiful, respectful racing. Most of the field was 2 wide through turn 5 and no issues.
So far, so good on lap number 1 here. Now rumbling down towards turn 8. Variety of engines and transmissions and drivetrain types, but it's a V8 out front with Matan Rosenberg. But Swenson gained some back in this turn 8 section. It's down to about 7 or 8 car lengths, and it could shrink more.
Yeah, I mean, Swenson's not going to let Matan have this race, but, man, if Matan can just stay on it, keep his eyes forward, that might be the worst part, is when you're out front, the only thing you have to look at is the people behind you potentially catching up, and you gotta block it out. You got to focus forward and get it done.
Into the kink for the first time at speed here in this final race of the weekend for GLTC. Nice orderly string, single file. There's a little double wide there deeper in the field. Maybe Eric Meadows and Lewis Chatroop side by side. A line of cars behind Jeremy Boysen. He doesn't have a wing on the back of that thing, so it'll be a bit dancing on the edge there through the kink. But down into Canada corner, looking good back here.
Yeah, I drove my car with no wing back in 2021, and it was not a good time. So, that's a bold move, Cotton.
Yeah, looking good now through turn 12 and back up towards the front straightaway this time. And Aaron Lichty back over Austin Hurdle's rear bumper for third place as they climb the hill. Swenson running Rosenberg back down. Could we have a battle for the lead here in GLTC? 2 Corvettes lead the way as lap 1 is complete.
Yeah, this isn't what he wants. Hurdle's already fallen off a bit. What Matan really wanted to see was Hurdle and Aaron get into that fight with Swenson, but instead they're just fighting each other, and Swenson's getting to focus on Rosenberg.
Aaron Lichty was side by side with Hurdle into turn 1. Is he going to complete the pass? No, he will not. He tucks in behind through the first corners. There's a big pack of cars past the start-finish line running down towards turn number 1. We'll see if they make it out side by side like they plan to do. 1 car wide, that's Chris Adams over the edge of the rumble strips there.
Man, he's way out there. Yeah, this mid-pack, they are just having a blast out there, scrapping it up.
And here they come down to turn 3. Brian Tyson in the blue and pink Civic. Justin Lee on the outside. Carlos Mendez is in the middle of all that. New to GLTC this season, and he's been right in the mix, in the thick of it, every race we've run. Best finish of 6th back at Watkins Glen, I believe, a couple of months ago. Into turn 5, though, the leaders have already come through. Here's Aaron Lichty on Austin Cobb sitting next to me. Austin Hurdle heading up the hill towards turn 6.
Yeah, man, they are getting after it. I think those two are they're just going to fight over P3 because why not? They're having a good time. It's the last race. It's not going to help Aaron in that weekend points championship, but I doubt he cares all that much.
It's Andy Smedegard sneaking behind Micaiah Hackbarth in the 447 Porsche Cayman. He is hounding that Cayman for 5th place, coming into the shot right behind Austin Hurdle. He's kind of the cork in the bottle here. The pressure is building as they shake it up for position number 3.
Yeah, it's really kind of they're working together to be the cork in the bottle. The more you fight, the more everybody behind you keeps catching up and pushing up against you. And the next thing you know, a 2-car fight becomes a 5-car fight.
Oh, it's getting even tighter for the lead. Swenson all over the back of Rosenberg through the kink now. It's only 1 car length between them as they rumble through the tree line back behind the kink and into Canada corner. It's going to be a fight for the top spot here. I know it. It's coming. And Swenson has the look, but he stays single file behind Rosenberg for now.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Rosenberg's learned his lesson on running defense. You saw he ran the exact racing line right there. He didn't fall for the juke. But, if Swenson sees that he's not going to cover that inside, next thing you know, he could be sneaking down it.
Morrison on the inside of Waldbaum. He will go by for 10th place at the moment. Here's Colton Wade deep on the brakes to the inside of Jeremy Boysen. And Jacob Price watching all that out the windshield. Was that a big slide by Rob Manicherry? I think he got that car significantly sideways, but got it straightened back out on the run up the hill. There's your lead. It's only 2 car lengths between the top 2, even less for third on back.
Yeah, Matan is running for his life right now. I'm sure he's getting a little spooked by how much that mirror's being filled up by the big old purple Corvette of Swenson.
It's only 0.3 of a second for the top spot. Well within drafting distance as well. The draft is effective in these cars. Speeds maybe 130 to 135 at most in these cars. Again, running at a power to weight limit. So Swenson is there. It's just a matter of how much can you take in the braking zone to make that pass. I think that's Luke McGrew and Gary Wimble side by side into turn 3 for 8th place.
Yeah, and McGrew moved himself back into the top 10, got that P9 spot and fastest lap of the race so far. So he is on a rip through the field.
Down into turn 5, will Swenson have a look? He poked out for a second, but Matan's car just out-dragging him on the straightaways. That 484 is wicked fast, but Swenson is all over him in the braking zone again. I think that's where Swenson is gaining, is on the binders into the slower corners.
Yeah, Swenson has always been very strong on the brakes, and Matan having that big, heavy car, even though he's got a lot of tire, it's a little hotter out right now. That asphalt's probably getting real warm. He might be struggling a little bit.
Yeah, looks like Joel Morrison gave a spot back up to Waldbaum, so move the number 90 back up a position or 2 into turn 8 now. Under the Speedville Bridge, and it is just so close for the top spot here in GLTC. And Swenson's got so much experience, and so does Matan for that matter, at 19 years old. Certainly no slouch. In the defense last year, he struggled because his car really wasn't up for it. His car's up for it today, and he's doing a great job.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be hard for Swenson to get a run. Really, this race is in Matan's hands. As long as he drives a good, clean race and lets that car do its job, he can win this thing. He's just got to keep doing what he's doing.
Nice tight pack. Whoa, Rob Minicherry way wide at the kink. Dropped a tire before the rumble strip, but kept it on course. That was a pucker moment for sure as he went through one of the fastest turns on the racetrack.
That is not where you want to find yourself. That he's probably a little wide-eyed at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And now under fire from Marchev. There's Gary Wimble side by side with him. Good battles here at the bottom half of the top 10, but it's the front end that I think is the most volatile and could be a factor here with just a couple laps remaining.
Yeah, I think Swenson's I think it's the same thing. I think he's pretty content to be where he is. As long as Matan maintains pace and pulls him away from P3, 4, and 5 back there, I don't think he's too worried. But if he gets the opportunity, he's going to take it.
Yeah, I think so. And same thing with Smedegard on the number 447 of Hackbarth. Doesn't have the legs on the straightaways, but that car we know is well tuned for the corners. And we'll see if he can overcome perhaps a bit of a straight line speed deficit down into turn 1 or so. So it's still 0.4, 0.3 of a second, a car length or 2, but whose car is going to drop off worse? You'd think that Rosenberg's being heavier would struggle, but with the rewards weight that Swenson is carrying, maybe that's holding him back a bit.
Yeah, I imagine that is holding him back quite a bit. I mean, he's making up that time on braking, but I'm sure his acceleration has hurt quite a bit. The balance of the car might not even be quite as good. But, yeah, I mean, if he fights Rosenberg for that lead, he's going to pull Hurdle and Aaron right back into the mix.
Braking zone into 5, and actually Hurdle pretty quick last time around, kind of back up into the mix here. As they head down into 5, you see the distance, only 2 car lengths between them as they head up towards that Corvette bridge. It's 2 Corvettes out front in GLTC, but that Nissan 370Z of Austin Hurdle is quickly coming back into the fray here, Austin.
Yeah, since Aaron and Austin quit fighting as much, they're picking up the pace, and Hurdle's pulling everybody along with him, it looks like.
Yeah, this could get really interesting. Hurdle also has never won a race in Gridlife Touring Cup, so there's 2 drivers that have never won in the top 3, and Swenson is so close to taking the lead back away as Micaiah Hackbarth still struggling to keep Andy Smedegard behind him as they head into the carousel.
Yeah, see, that's probably getting in Swenson's head now, because every time he looks in the mirror, he sees that chrome pink 370Z hood getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and he knows if he fights Rosenberg, I mean, even just one corner is enough to pull Austin right back into this fight.
It's definitely creating some urgency on Swenson's side to see that 370 coming into the mix, and even though that car is heavy too, I don't think it's as heavy as the Vets are in this particular trim today, so his car might last a little longer. We talk about lasting longer as far as over the course of this short race. It's really tire temperature that you're worried about. That's Luke McGrew on Smedegard into turn number 12, and Marchev on Wimble. They've gone side by side through there a bunch, but you can overheat tires by overdriving the car, driving too hard, and that's what Swenson and Rosenberg are trying not to do right now.
Yeah, it's important to note for those that don't know that we are on street tires. So we run 200 Trailbreak street tires, and you can absolutely beat them down in only 15 minutes. It is not really that hard to do.
So we have 2 minutes left on the clock here, which, well, that's going to be our white flag lap. Next time by, it's the checker. 1 lap to go in Gridlife Touring Cup, and it's race on up at the front of the field here and throughout the rest of it, as Luke McGrew just logged the fastest lap of the race.
He is just
in the number
blocking
7.
them off.
He really is, and single file out behind the field for the most part through the rest of the top 10. Swenson fading a little bit that time through, but can he approach Rosenberg into turn 5 where he has been so far?
So that's, I mean, this is a good way to see how rewards weight is affecting Swenson. McGrew made up a full second on that lap, and he just shed, I was talking to him after the last race, and he was really happy he was shedding the last of his rewards weight. So he's in a full power car right now.
Down the hill towards turn 5. This is Swenson's perhaps one of his last opportunities. He's been really good on the braking zone. You see the gap, maybe 5-6 car lengths. It's going to close, though, as they slow these cars down. It's down to 4, maybe 3, maybe 2 at corner exit, but now it's the handling section, and I still think this is where Swenson might have an advantage. It's just so hard to make a pass until Canada corner.
Yeah, there's not much left until Canada, unless he can set up a great exit out of carousel and through the kink. I don't think he really has much, and I really don't think he's going to want to risk too much. Fighting into Canada could get real sketchy and pull Austin right back into it.
Down towards turn number 8 for the final time here for Gridlife Touring Cup. Power to weight, single-class sprint racing. Micaiah Hackbarth under fire from Luke McGrew, the fastest car on the racetrack right now, that black number 7 Corvette in 6th position. But one more time through the kink. Rosenberg, oh man, he's got to hang on to it for a lap more.
He is right there. I mean, we all want to see Matan win, but I know as much as anybody else, he doesn't want it to just be handed to him. He wants to fight for it, and he's been doing it this entire time.
He's been fighting for it. He will have to fight for a couple more corners. Hackbarth wide at the kink. McGrew goes by. That should be for 5th place for the number 7. Good recovery in the points for him. Canada corner, final time. Rosenberg leads, just 2 car lengths over Jeremy Swenson, but that was the last good passing opportunity. Bobble for Smedegaard on the brakes. He goes by Hackbarth, too, who's dropping down the field.
Yeah, I mean, short of a driver error at this point, Matan should have this wrapped up. Let's see how he gets through turn 14.
Oh, Swenson's there. Final corner, a car length between them. Turn 14, one more run up the front straightaway. Rosenberg in the 484, 19 years old. He's never won in Gridlife Touring Cup. Swenson right behind him. Matan Rosenberg has never won a race in GLTC. It changes today. Matan Rosenberg, 19 years old, picks up a win in Gridlife Touring Cup over the 2021 GLTC champion. What a drive.
He threw that fist out the window. He knows it. He earned it. He is going to be stoked out of his mind. Hell yeah, brother.
That was awesome stuff for a driver that has run with us for a couple of years and so young but so experienced, always willing to show people around his car and take them for rides. He's got a passenger seat in that car, and while it is one of the heaviest and one of the most powerful cars in the class, this is the track for it. Took advantage of that field invert and never looked back, maybe to check and see where Swenson was, but just an unbelievable drive. Great defense, and Jeremy gave it everything he had.
Man, that was an epic drive. I mean, he did everything he needed to do. Even when Swenson started catching back up, he just kept his head down. He turned laps. He never missed a mark. He never let Swenson get his nose in there. He did everything he had to do.
And that is our 8th unique winner this season, so that adds 1 to that column. 8 winners in 5 rounds of competition so far this season. It's just an unbelievable drive by a driver who is one of the nicest guys in the paddock. And can't say enough about Austin Hurdle. That's I don't know how many podiums he's got, but not many. And that'll be an excellent drive for Austin Hurdle. His previous best finish this season was a 3rd at Gridlife Midwest last month in June. So that will tie, I think, his best finish ever in GLTC competition.
Not bad. And I was talking to him the other night. He even said he doesn't drive quite as much as he has in previous seasons, and he feels like he doesn't really have that razor's edge dialed-in driving. But, I mean, how can you complain when you get a top 3 in GLTC? This is the most competitive field in amateur racing in the country. Incredible.
To learn more about Gridlife and Gridlife Touring Cup, you can visit the website at grid.life/GLTC or just grid.life to learn more about all the motorsports that we do around the country. We'd love to have you. It's an inclusive paddock with cars, with drivers, with your family members. The whole family's welcome at all Gridlife events. We host them all around the country. Next week, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for our next stop on the Gridlife Festival Tour. We have arcades at our events. Sometimes we've got live music as well, but drifting, time attack, high-tech touring cup racing. It's an all-inclusive weekend, and this is our first time as a support race for NASCAR and the Porsche Carrera Cup and the Optima Street Car Challenge in Austin. What a privilege it was to put on this show for the fans. I hope you all enjoyed that, and hope you really enjoyed the minivan around there, a very unique car in our field.
Absolutely. What a weekend. What an opportunity. Oh, man. I broke my car, but I think I might have had more fun doing this.
It was a lot of fun to be with you here this weekend at Road America. Once again, to learn more, grid.life is the website, and you can find us down by the tunnel to leave the racetrack between turns 13 and 14. Stop, and we got a merch booth set up. We've got an arcade under the pavilion, and stop by and say hi to the drivers and check out the builds before you leave today. It's just an exceptional field and some exceptional drivers as well. I'm Kyle Heyer with Austin Cobb. Thanks so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you at Mid-Ohio next week for the next stop on the Gridlife Festival Tour.